Hi friends, good afternoon, and it's Maya for Enchanting Life Internet Foundation. So in this video I want to tell you people about the symbolic representation that we have tried to create by choosing to use pink as our official color. So essentially we use pink as the color of our t-shirts, and then we use, I hope the microphone is working properly, and then we use black inscriptions on it. So why have we chosen to use the color pink in this foundation? The reason for this choice is because pink is a feminine color, and many ladies really just love pink. And in many romantic spaces, if it's not red, pink is always used. So we use pink because also baby girls as well, baby children, baby girls also love pink. But then again, one of the most important reasons why we chose to use pink for this foundation is because we are hoping to carry men, baby boys, young men, adult men along with us in the conversation on mental health, youth aid, and child welfare. So when we talk about mental health, many of you already know that it has to do with the complete well-being of a person, not just the physical aspect, but also what goes on in their mind, what they think about, and how well they are in terms of being able to contribute their quota positively to their communities. Many times when women, young women, or even adult women go through things that stresses their mental health, they do not involve men in the conversation. So by using pink, we are trying to bring men into the conversation. So you know what we're saying, guys? It's not only about talking to a lady who you see wearing pink on the streets and you be like, oh, you know what, I like that girl, and you go talk to her. No, if she has a problem as well, let that pink, that soft space that you have for women that made you talk to her in a romantic sense, let it also move you to protect her. We are saying no, do not be moved to abuse a woman either physically or sexually, but instead let that pink color move you to treat her with tenderness and to treat her with, with care, with affection. And even if you see a woman being accosted in a wrong way by a man, let that feminine pink, let it move tender feelings for you so that you help to protect her in that space where she is vulnerable. And so in her vulnerability, let her be able to count on your protection. In her delicate fragility, let her be able to count on your protection. That's what we're trying to achieve. So I'm going to give some quick instances here. So I have my own personal religious beliefs, as many of you know, but I know that there are a lot of women who go through things like abortion. A lot of women go through things like miscarriages, and oftentimes they do not share these experiences with their significant male partners. So you have a situation where men do not understand how deeply depressing abortion can be for a woman, because women don't tell them these things. And so when we go for programs, when we go for outreach, you see a situation where men are saying, oh, I didn't know that abortion was such a big deal. It is a big deal. No religious sentiment here. On a psychological level, abortion is a very big deal. Yes, it's your body, but at the same time, when you go through an abortion, it also affects your mental health. Whether you try to deny it, whether you suppress it or not, abortion has been linked to depression in a woman. Abortion has been linked to traumatic experiences. Abortion has been linked to PTSD, post-traumatic experiences, in a lot of women. And to make matters even more complex, if an abortion is done after a woman was sexually assaulted, for example, a woman was raped and then she ended up having an abortion, can you imagine the kind of effect that would have on her mental health? You can agree with me that it's a very, very strong, depressive, emotional situation. Camera, because my other camera went off. So we believe that by using pink, men will be brought into these conversations, not just on abortions, conversations on miscarriages, conversations on what it means to be a woman, how secure women feel walking on the street every day in terms of sexual harassment, conversations that have to do with period pain. It should be normalized for a girl to tell her boss that, boss, please, can I go off? Can I have half a day today? Why? Because I'm having painful periods. That conversation between a man and a woman, it should be normalized. There shouldn't be any stigma about talking about periods with a man, because you know why? The conversations that have to do with men and women's bodies go on in other spaces. So why should we talk about sex and other things that have to do with intimacy with a man, and then when it comes to the functional part of the body, then all of a sudden that is a taboo? We are saying at this foundation that no, it is better for each partner's mental health if these conversations. And then again, you have situations because of all these complexities where a woman is going through incredible period, and there are types of period pains that are actually classified as disorders in the health segment, in the health sector. A woman will be lying on the ground moaning in pain. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to faint when I was on my periods. And you will see a man come in and act like nothing is happening or minimize it, like, what's wrong with you? Are you the first person to have a period? Just snap out of this. You're making drama. Because they don't understand, because women have not been carrying them along, or they've not been involving themselves in the conversations that has to do with women's bodies and women's sexuality. And this begins from childhood. So that's another reason we chose pink as the color of our foundation. The other reason that I would like to bring out here, it has to do with childbirth. The women go through in order to have a child. This is not some kind of punishment. No, it's just, it has to do with inclusion. When you include a man in the process of bringing a life into this world, he would be more inclined to give his best in terms of providing and protecting that life when he comes across that person, either as an adult lady or as a child. But when you exclude them in the name of, oh, this is not a man's place, or whatever excuse that people like to give when they do this exclusion of men, then you kill the emotions that they would have, that tenderness. We are trying to evoke feelings of tenderness and love in men towards young women so that they would be less inclined to hurt them and more inclined to protect them. I'll give one last final example. You all know me at the foundation. I always like to mix seriousness with play so that it doesn't get boring. So, you know, a lot of times in African communities, when they are bathing babies, when you just give birth to babies and you're bathing them, they'll say, oh, we don't want a man in this room. This is an all-woman thing. And the reason they give is, according to what one of our new volunteers, when you said, is that they say that a man's hands are not delicate enough to bathe a baby. But I was bathed by my father. And here I am, I'm alive. Nothing happened to me. He didn't break my bones when he was bathing me. And to make matters even worse, when things that have to do with love making or sexual intimacy is happening between a man and a woman, is he breaking her bones in that space? Is he not being tender? Is he not being affectionate? So why can't that same tenderness and affection not be translated into the space where a man can actually help a woman to bathe a baby? It's not because it's absolutely necessary for him to do so, or that, okay, if he doesn't do it, then the child will not be bathed, but just including men in these spaces of, you know, child welfare, child care. We know they have to work. At least majority of them, the responsible ones, do know that they have to economically contribute to the household and, you know, just lead that space at least. But you know that there are men who do not financially contribute to a household, are not responsible economically, and then you cannot also count on them to do their part in the house domestically. And then they still will tell you that they are the head of the house. So is this really true? So it's because of things like this that we chose the color pink. I could write a 10-page episode on this matter because it's a very dear matter to my heart and everyone on my team. We are all on the same page on it. But I think that this pretty much explains why we chose the color pink. So the next time you see a girl wearing pink, be moved to protect her and do not hurt her. And when you see a girl wearing pink as a girl, be moved to see her as an ally, not as your enemy. Or the color pink, being as delicate and refreshing as it is, be something that when you see, it evokes feelings of positivity, feelings of togetherness, feelings of community, feelings of I can do it, you know, this I can do it attitude. Let it evoke that attitude in you, because at the end of the day, we can make it happen. We are making it happen because we are good enough. And yes, you too, you are good enough. And finally, because every child is good enough, so when you see a child, treat them like you see the good in them. I love you all very much. Thank you for watching. Namaste. It's Maya, of course, for Enchanting Life 18 Foundation.
The international boy, DJ Bez.
Jackside.
Tu peux te mentir à toi-même, mais pas à ton cœur.
Tu penses à moi même si t'es dans les bras d'un autre. Et tu te sens libre, mais ton cœur est bloqué. Car il est à moi, et peu importe ce que tu racontes, tu m'as dans la peau. Aïe, je suis ta force, ta plus grande faille. Ah, tu m'as dans la peau. Aïe, je te chercherai en enfer ou dans les coins du paradis. Au début j'avais toi, l'histoire fait qu'on se laisse. Avec toi l'amour c'était beau, mais c'était néfaste, on ne pourra rien en faire. Vois que le temps passe, le temps fait des douleurs que seul le temps efface. Les autres ils sont plus là.